Hey everybody, welcome to the Library Lady. Thanks for tuning in today for another great book on What's a Story. This is a great place to find children's books and some activities that you can do at home or at school with the story featured each week. And every week I give 2 stories, so make sure you check in twice a week to see what they are. If you are new, welcome. Make sure you click subscribe. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your support. And I would just ask that you share with friends and family so they can participate and learn some great titles too, because there are so many kids' books out there. And sometimes it's just a matter of finding the perfect book for your child that just sets them off ready to read. So without further ado, we've got The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and it's by Kelly Barnhill. It actually won the 2017 Newbery Award, put out by Algonquian Books for Young Readers. And this is a fabulous book. As you can see, it's kind of long. Now, I never like to put ages or grade levels on it, but I will say I did this with 5th graders at the library I worked at, and for Battle of the Books, if you're familiar with that program. So that may give you an indication, but it would be a great read aloud, or if your child is able to read it independently. It's a fabulous story. Reads kind of like a fairy tale, but so many more elements. I mean, after all, it did win the Newbery Award. So just a great book. Let's take a look at kind of how it looks and sounds like, and then we'll do some activity sharing at the end. In chapter 1, in which a story is told. Yes, there is a witch in the woods. There has always been a witch. Will you stop fidgeting for once? My stars, I have never seen such a fidgety child. No, sweetheart, I have not seen her. No one has, not for ages. We've taken steps so that we'll never see her again. Terrible steps. Don't make me say it. You already know, anyway. Oh, I don't know, darling. No one knows why she wants children. We don't know why she insists that it must always be the very youngest among us. It's not as though we could just ask her. She hasn't been seen. We make sure that she will not be seen. Of course she exists. What a question. Look at the woods. So dangerous. Poisonous smoke and sinkholes and boiling geysers and terrible dangers every which way. Do you think it is so by accident? Rubbish. It was the witch, and if we don't do as she says, what will become of us? You really need me to explain it? I'd rather not. Oh, hush now, don't cry. It's not as though the Council of Elders is coming for you now, is it? You're far too old. From our family? Yes, dearest. Ever so long ago, before you were born, he was a beautiful child, a beautiful boy. Now finish your supper and see to your chores. We'll all be up early tomorrow. The day of the sacrifice waits for no one, and we must all be present to thank the child who will save us for one more year. Your brother? How could I fight for him? If I had, the witch would have killed us all, and then where would we be? Sacrifice one or sacrifice all? That is the way of the world. We wouldn't change it if we tried. Enough questions, off with you, fool child. And chapter 2 is in which an unfortunate woman goes quite mad. So as you can see, she's kind of recapping kind of what is happening. Every year, the people of the protectorate have to sacrifice a child, the youngest child in their community, and they leave it out in the forest. And by the next day, the child is gone, and this witch that they believe lives in the forest. Now, Zan is a witch in the forest, but she actually is kind and doesn't devour the children or do anything crazy like that. But she sends them to a well-loving family on the other side of the forest. Now, to nourish and care for these kids in this transition, she feeds them starlight to keep them going. And she has good intentions. However, one day, the child that she takes, the little girl, she feeds moonlight instead of starlight by accident. Now, you may think this is not a big problem, except this gives her the ability to have magic within her, and a magic which she cannot tame and control. And so she keeps it up and says that she has to be 13, I believe. But then it just leads into the series of events of how she has this magic and what to do with it. And the people of the town who are after the witch, and all these different elements are coming together to weave this incredible story as this girl and the power that she has and what can do. As you can see, there's a cute little monster on here. There's some really fun little characters. There's a swamp monster and a tiny little dragon, and just great fun in this book. Like I said, fantasy would probably not be my top pick if I had to choose my favorite genre, but I love this story, and it's an amazing read. And like I said, it won the Newbery Award, and there's a reason for that. So highly recommend it. You can check out Kelly Barnhill's website, maybe think of some questions. I always encourage kids to reach out to authors, ask them questions, find out about their stories. So that's one activity you can do. The forest plays a huge part of the story, and maps also. And so it might be an opportunity to talk a little bit about maps and what makes a good map, drawing your own map, drawing a map from the story, and actually using the text there. There are not really illustrations in the book as I'm kind of re-looking at it here. So it's a great way to visualize and to put in kind of the layout of the land. A lot of quotes in the story, just kind of if you're familiar with the book Wonder, there's a lot of quotes in there, and so finding a quote that speaks to you and having them explain why. I do love poetry. Glurk loves, he's one of the little creature characters in the story, he loves reciting poems, and so it's a great way to pull into that poetry aspect. I recommend haikus. If you're not familiar, Google haikus, but basic Japanese poem, 3 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. I like those because they're short, quick, and fairly easy for kids to write, and they're about nature, so a perfect tie-in with the forest and the community. And then also origami. Adara is this mad woman in the story, and she makes these paper birds, and so it's a perfect opportunity to do some origami and to make birds. So a great story, kind of how Luna all turns out, what happens with the witch, what happens with the elders in the town who are on this mission to take over and to capture the witch and everything. And so a great read. Moonlight is magic, and it is just a fabulous read. So thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you'll check it out, The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and I will see you next time on What's the Story. Don't forget to click subscribe. Happy reading.